I really am in need of a video that also feels like self-care. Hello my darling friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nellie if you've never been here before. I'm very much a homebody who just loves doing crafts and reading and sharing with you guys what I read and what I'm doing. And if you're new, I hope you stay a while. Today we're going to be doing some book stuff, hopefully over the next 2 days. I love watching these kinds of videos and I feel like lately I really am in need of a video that also feels like self-care. Work has just gotten really busy and obviously we're in the full swing of summer and I've got 2 kids, so time to myself is a little bit fewer and further between, so we're just gonna enjoy the time that we have. There are a few things that I just haven't been able to do a lot of lately that I really wanted to do. Number one, to start out this video, I have been wanting to go to a coffee shop by myself and just like read or listen to an audiobook while I do a craft. And that might sound very commonplace if you don't have children, but for me, a lot of the times when my kids are out of school, I don't have a lot of downtime, so I still take them with me because I still really enjoy it when I go with them, but it's not always an experience where I can like sit down and read or zone out and do a craft or things like that. So I've been really wanting to go do that. The only way I knew I was going to be able to make this happen during a work week is if I went in the morning. So I've been waking up earlier, and this morning I found a new coffee shop that I wanted to go in and try. It's super close to me. And I looked ahead and saw that they had matcha on their menu. I'm always down to try a new place. I'm very picky, and lately even more so, I feel like. But I looked online and it was a really cute place and I thought it'd be fun to just go and either read a book or bring a craft. So that's exactly what I did. Let's roll the tapes. Okay, that coffee shop experience was so needed. First of all, when I went in, there was only one other person there, and anybody else who came throughout the entire like 45 minutes that I was there came in to just grab their drink and leave. So I had basically the entire lobby or whatever you want to call it to myself, and I just sat and I listened to the book that I'm currently reading, which is The Thorn Queen by Sasha Payton Smith. I'm too lazy to go and grab it from my room. But I also brought a craft with me. Hold on, let me just go get it. I wanted to show you the craft that I was working on while I was listening to The Thorn Queen. We're doing themed weeks with my kids just to kind of spice summer up. And so this week is Chef Week. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I grabbed just normal white aprons and I had them take a pen and draw a few little things on them. And I've been taking embroidery floss and just embroidering their little drawings. It's actually looking so cute. I have one little bottom I need to finish for a strawberry, but I don't have any red floss. And then I'm working on my daughter's right here, which is not as far through. Let me take the needle out so I can actually show you, but it's looking really cute. Like her name's up here. She wanted to put her age on it and she's obsessed with axolotls. So I finished the little axolotl face. It's just so fun. I feel like being a mom is really hard, and like I said, it really is what you make it. And doing fun things like this for my kids and seeing how excited they are when it's done, like they truthfully think I am the most artistic person on the planet, which I'm definitely not, but it's kind of cool to have these people that just like look up to you and they just think that everything you do is the coolest thing ever. And I know maybe one day it's not going to be like that forever, right? Because they're 4 and 7 and they think that I'm amazing, and I hope that continues, but it's just really cool. It's really cool. So I'm excited to do this. I really want to finish Haven's today, my daughter's today, because then we can do some baking together tomorrow. And I also planned so that they could make their dad and I dinner one night, just like something very simple, and I ordered them some chef hats too. But back to the book stuff, I have really been wanting to do some type of a bookish craft. So I thought, since we're filming this video, this is an absolutely perfect time to go to Hobby Lobby and get the supplies. I got this inspiration off of Pinterest, and I'll put it up here. I came across on my feed book charms, and I thought it would be so fun to make some little book charm bookmarks, especially for summer, because I feel like as I'm reading like summer contemporary romances or summer fantasies, they're a lot more colorful, and how fun to add like a colorful little book charm to the end of it. Hobby Lobby apparently carries acrylic bookmarks. I'm really hoping that my Hobby Lobby has them. If not, I'll just grab some from Amazon and we'll just kind of pivot there. Either way, I think I can make the tail ends for them, but I'm just gonna grab charms, like all different colors and letter charms. And I thought it'd be really fun to make some to match the books that I'm either displaying on my shelves for summer or the books that I want to read for summer. Like I was thinking it would be fun to make one for either Every Summer After or One Golden Summer, because my husband and I are watching Every Year After on Prime right now. Which, side note, I'm struggling with the show a little bit. I think that Sam was really well cast. I think that Percy was really well cast, but I think that the changes they've made from the book have kind of just made some inconsistencies in their characters, so that watching the show you're kind of confused. Obviously I've read the book, but my husband hasn't, and he's kind of like, so why is this person doing this when they just said that? And I'm like, you know what, because it didn't happen that way in the book. So they're trying to keep some things true to the book and other things, which are bigger things, just totally off. And so I basically made him pause the show last night when a big reveal happened. I think it was in episode 6 or 5, and I went and grabbed my book and I like read specifically show. I'm like, that's not how this person found this out. They actually already knew. And it was like, I felt like I was getting heated because I was like, why did they do that? Anyways, I digress. Because that's been popular, I thought it'd be fun to do a book charm for that book, and then maybe one for Seeing Other People as well, because it's a book I've been wanting to read during the summer. Maybe one for Swept Away, which is another summer book that's on my TBR. We'll see where we get. I think it's not going to take me that long. Famous last words, you know, if you're a crafter, you know. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking about. Lately, I've been in Hobby Lobby like every 3 days because I have a new idea for a craft. I literally was just there getting this stuff for the aprons and like the embroidery. But we're going back and we're gonna have a great time, and I'm gonna take you guys with me. Why do I absolutely suck at parking straight in? That was so embarrassing. I feel like I've gotten so reliant on my backup camera, and I'm an extremely good parallel parker for having a bigger truck. But for some reason, when the parking lot is crowded and I want to park just straight in, like turning into a parking spot, I just get nervous. And I don't know why. But anyways, I just got back from Hobby Lobby, and even though this bag looks full, it was actually kind of a fail. I mean, I got a few things, but it's just not what I expected. First, I started out by running and grabbing something for my kids. I told you guys it's Chef Week, and maybe this is just gonna be kind of a crafting vlog, but we'll see. I've seen sensory bins before where they take yarn and red pom-poms and they do like a spaghetti sensory bin, and I thought that would be fun. It's very simple. You literally just cut the yarn and throw the meatballs in there, the pom-poms, and then you can either print out little cards that say, oh, like, this is my order. I want just pasta, or I want, you know, pasta and 3 meatballs or whatever it is. And then they come and give you that. But I thought it would be fun because their chef aprons and their chef hats will be done. And then they can serve me, you know, like play food. I ended up getting the red embroidery thread I needed for my son's apron. And then the only thing that I got for the bookmark was the actual bookmarks themselves. I spent so long, probably 30 plus minutes in the bead aisle, and I just felt so lost and felt like there wasn't what I was looking for, and I kept like pairing things together, and I'm just like, oh, why am I not feeling this? And I don't want to just buy things to buy things. So I just was like, I wonder if I'm gonna have to just go to a different store or look on Amazon because they have better kits. And then I couldn't even find these, and there was like 10 minutes left before the store was closing. But then I was just like, let me just go check in this other aisle just in case. I found them. They're a great deal. I mean, $2.79 for 6 of them, and if you get them on sale 40% off, it's even better. But I didn't find beads, so I'm like, oh. So I think what we might do is like I might take my kids in the morning to go to look for beads in another store if I don't find any late night on Amazon that can just come next day or something like that. I really do want to make them this week, so we'll see. Or maybe I'll just need to look up more inspo and like closer to see what kind of beads like I'm drawn for, and then also put together a color palette or bring the books in the store with me, so I'm like, oh, this would go well, oh, this would go well. But anyways, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Again, like I would rather be mindful about what I'm buying and not just end up with a ton of beads that I'm like, oh, I don't really like these and I wouldn't use them for other things. So anyways, that was what I got. I was thinking about going to a bookstore tonight, but I kind of just want to go up and finish Every Year After, and then we can do like a debrief. And also while I'm doing that, I'll finish embroidering my aprons for my kids, though I can surprise them in the morning. They're so excited for them. They keep asking me for them, and tonight I made them a little charcuterie board and I brought it out during Ratatouille, and they just thought it was the coolest thing ever, which is so fun. So anyways, this really is becoming more of like a crafting vlog than a doing bookish stuff so far. But I feel like my life is just, you know, crafts and reading, and I feel like there are two hobbies that go well together, so it's fine. I do want to update you guys though, before I forget, on The Thorn Queen, because I did finish The Thorn Queen. I listened to most of it today. It's a fairly short book, and I think I'm going to settle on a 4-star rating. This is the second book in The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. I really enjoyed the first book. It was such a good change of pace, like such a fun fantasy. It was almost like light, but also had some heavier, darker themes at the same time. I believe it's YA. And it was basically like Bridgerton meets The Cruel Prince meets The Selection, which was so intriguing to me. I think I gave the first book a 4.5 star, and I really liked the spin on who the love interest is in the book instead of who the obvious one would be, like they are in every single fantasy. I read that last month, and so I definitely wanted to get to The Thorn Queen this month, just because I'm normally horrible at finishing series in a timely manner, and then I just forget about them and never finish them. I ended up giving the second book 4 stars. There were just a little bit of parts in the book where maybe it slowed down a little bit. There were a few things that I was just like, oh, I don't love this, that this is happening to our characters, that they're going through this specific kind of a thing. And then there's like a little bit of a jealousy thing also happening, which I'm like, no, I don't want to feel that in the second book. I really don't. Like, I would rather feel that in the first book and then overcome that. So there were a few things, and again, I'm being very vague. I just don't want to give it away, but overall, I think it was a really enjoyable duology. If you're wanting to get into a fantasy and you're like, I don't want too much of a commitment, but you still want a story that will develop over more than one book, this was very enjoyable, very easy to read, very approachable. Trying to figure out what book to pick up next. I've been really, really good this month about finishing series. I've already finished 3 series this month, so I'm trying to figure out if I continue on with another series and pick up Paladin's Faith and finish off the Saints of Steel series, which I think I could want to do because I really want to read Sword Heart, which you're supposed to read before. But I'm also kind of just wanting to go to the bookstore and pick up a book. I have this list of like 10 books on my notes app that I'm really, really, really wanting to read soon, just while I'm bitten by the fantasy bug. But I'm just like, oh, do I just need to finish more of my TBR before I do that? I'm kind of torn. I'll update you guys on what I decide, whether we're gonna go to a bookstore and we're gonna pick out a book, or whether we are just gonna start a new book and be good from my TBR. But for now, let's go watch a little Every Year After. The next morning, and I don't know what I did with my mascara. It is completely lost, but it's fine. We're rolling with it. We did end up finishing Every Year After last night, and I feel like I have such mixed feelings. I just think that with the things that they changed, which were pretty big from the book, I just feel like the characters had a lot of inconsistencies, and it almost made it feel like you were watching 2 different characters while you were watching it, because there would be times where, for example, Sam would react so negatively and like horribly to something and be super super angry, which kind of isn't how he is in the book. And then the next second he'd see Percy, and literally the next scene he would be back to the Sam in the books. I just felt like, as somebody who's read the book, I almost wish that I hadn't, so that I could just see the show for what it was, because I did enjoy it, and my husband was like, yeah, it was good. But not having something to compare it to, you'll have to let me know what you think if you've watched the show, if you feel the same. I still enjoyed it. I just feel like it wasn't what I was expecting and hoping for. I also feel like the ending was so unsatisfying. I know they needed to leave it on a cliffhanger for One Golden Summer to happen, but just the other things that were not tied up at the end of the season really bothered me. I did really love seeing what is going to transition into One Golden Summer, because I loved One Golden Summer, and so I loved seeing the picture of Charlie and Percy and Sam on the boat and how Charlie comes across it. And I will watch the next season because of that. There's just, it's just a little part of me that's like, oh, I didn't love that. This morning, what we're gonna do is go to the library. It's been a little bit since I've taken my kids to the library, so we're gonna go and just see what they have there. I love our local library. They have so many cool things for kids, but I also want to take a peek and see if there's anything that piques my interest, and maybe it'll be like a book that I end up picking up today, because I still haven't decided. I'm kind of leaning towards starting Paladin's Faith, but I also think I could just go into the library today and have something just catch me off guard and just pick that. So we'll see. I'm outside for a sec because it is so nice today, but admittedly I did not take a lot of footage at the library. I ended up having a friend come with me, and she brought her girls and our kids were just playing, so obviously I wanted to be more present. And when I am with my friends, especially when they have their kids, I try not to film, because obviously like that's my choice. I don't want to make a choice for them, if that makes sense. But I did want to show you that I did end up getting a book at the library, and it's a book that I've heard a lot about. I've seen like Fairy Loot just did their own version of it, and I've read a book by this author that I have enjoyed in the past. I think it ended up being a 3-star read, but the potential was there for me to really like this author, so I ended up grabbing it, and this one's called The Gravewood by Kelly Andrew. I've read Your Blood, My Bones, and the concept was really, really fascinating, and I really did like the first half of the book, so I feel like I have potential to really like this. Some of my favorite booktubers have been putting this on their TBR or have just received it, and so, I don't know. I'm excited to see if I like it. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick this up right now, but I thought I would share it with you anyway. It says that Shay Parker has lived her life in the shadow of the Gravewood, an impassable forest that cut off her town from the rest of the world. I feel like already there it's going to be an atmospheric read. With supplies scarce, Shay is forced to carefully ration her hearing aid batteries. Okay, so she's deaf. That's really interesting. When her stash runs out, she'll be left in the silence. Desperate, Shay turns to Oliver Lysander, the volatile leader of a vampire gang that rules the Gravewood. The arrangement between Shay and Lysander is simple. She gives him her blood, he tracks down batteries. They don't cross any lines. They don't make it personal despite their growing attraction. But when Shay's best friend is lured into the Gravewood, that delicate balance is broken for good. Eager to keep her in the dark with him, the opportunistic Lysander renegotiates the terms of their deal. If Shay agrees to turn, Lysander will help her navigate the carnivorous Gravewood. For the first time ever, Shay finds herself leaving home, swallowed in the dreamlike dark of the Gravewood and traveling in the company of killers. It isn't long before she risks becoming one herself. That sounds so interesting, like it's going to be really atmospheric. Reading that though, I feel like this might be a really good fall time read, but who knows, maybe I'll pick this one up next. I ended up ordering some beads online. I think they're all going to get here tomorrow though, so I will definitely show you them when they get here, and I'm excited to make those bookmarks. I think that'll probably actually be the next bookish activity that I end up doing. I'm actually about to log into a therapy appointment, and then I think we're just going to do some family stuff later, so I'm excited for that, and I will jump back in for that craft. Come tell me that again. Point to it. Point at that. some very early morning crafts. Saturday mornings, my husband wakes up really early to go play pickleball. That way he can go and play with his friends and it doesn't like take away from our family time, which I really appreciate. But I normally just sleep in, and when I say sleep in, I mean I only sleep in until about 7:45 when my kids wake me up. So today when he was leaving at 6, I asked him to wake me up so it would give me time to get out of bed still slowly, but be able to do a little craft by myself, before my kids wake up. I love doing crafts with them, but I was just talking to my friend about how I want to do more crafts just by myself at night, because it is a lot of fun when my kids do crafts with me, but it's not as relaxing and I don't really get to get into that crafty flow state, if you know what I mean, where I actually feel like it ends up being self-care and relaxing and I can put on a show for myself. So I've been wanting to do more by myself. I also think it'll be good because it lets me test something out before I do it with my kids and I see if it'd be a good craft for them or not. But we finally got the beads and stuff in and I'm really excited to do it. It is before 7. We're still in the 6 o'clock hour of the morning, and so I just threw on some camera safe PJs for you guys. And I also blew out my hair a little bit and fried my forehead. So if you see me touching my forehead, it's because I cannot curl my bangs without frying my face. So I really just need to do it with a blow. Anyways, I still feel like I'm learning to style them. So if they look a little bit funky, that's why. But I kind of wanted to show you the books that I pulled out that we could make little bookmarks for or tassels for. I pulled 4 out. First of all, I pulled my book that I'm currently reading. And when I say currently, I mean I'm actually 1 chapter in, or 1 like section of a chapter in. I've not like read as much the past 2 days, but I've just been so busy and slammed with work. Like it's a miracle that I've even been able to film. Yesterday I couldn't film at all, but it's Paladin's Faith. I am loving this color scheme. I think just for summer it's so fun, and I really want to finish another series. I'm getting like a high off of finishing series lately because I've been notoriously bad at it. I think this could be fun to match a bookmark to, because I think like the pinks and all the different fun colors, I think that it could also match for other books that I have if it's like a romance. So I'm excited to do that. And then I have my Carly Fortune books just because obviously it's the time of every year after, and I think a lot of summer romances have similar color schemes. So every summer after has got like the blue and the orange, and then we've got One Golden Summer, which is one of my favorite contemporary romances, and I just love the cover of this book. I love how shimmery it is. It is beautiful. And I also pulled out another book that I want to read in the next 2 months, maybe in July, that has a similar color scheme. I realized after I pulled it out that once I get to reading it, I could probably just use the one that I'm making for One Golden Summer. My plan is that while I'm not using these, I can display them on my shelves. Like it'll just show in the book that it was made for, but then I can also grab them if I have a book that I want to use it for. So that's my plan for now. I probably have some other ones I could make. I also don't know how long this is going to take me, so I kind of wanted to start out with 2 to 3 books first off. Okay guys, the setup is important. I don't know why, but like when I'm doing crafts, I have to have everything laid out and it needs to be visually appealing, or I just feel stressed while I'm doing it. So I feel like I have the inspo out, and yeah, I'm just excited to get started. I figured while I started making these bookmarks, I kind of wanted to share with you, while I'm making these bookmarks, I kind of wanted to share with you guys my books that are on my like to buy list, the books that are on my highest priority as far as purchasing a book, because a lot of times lately I really try to get a book on either Kindle Unlimited, or I try to get a book from the library if I'm unsure if I'm gonna love it, if I'm unsure if it's a book for me, and I really do try to responsibly buy, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because I have found myself in the last year doing a lot of book on hauls, and I just feel like if I'm doing a lot of book on hauls, then that means that I wasn't really responsibly buying in the first place personally, because a lot of times I'll include books that I haven't read, that I'm just not really interested in any longer. So I'm trying to kind of avoid that. Recently though, I feel like I'm about to finish my physical fantasy TBR, and I want to have books on hand that I am just excited to read and that I really think could be potential 5 stars. And so what I've realized lately about myself is that my perfect fantasy equation, I guess, if you will, in order to get a 5 star, for example, is a good fantasy plot, a good, fun, unique magic system, or really atmospheric, lush writing with a romantic subplot. So romance not being the entire point. And also with that romance, I want the progression of the relationship to really make sense. I want it to be very much yearning and not jumping into a physical relationship, which I feel like I struggle with finding as far as in fantasy. When I looked back at the fantasy series that I've really, really loved, for example, like Throne of Glass, there's a cast of characters that you fall in love with. There's multiple books, obviously, in this series a lot of the time, but I've also had fantasy standalones that I've really loved. They've also had casts of characters that really almost like had meant something to me, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the characters have their own problems and just things that make their hearts ache that I really, really feel like I'm getting into because it's really well written. And then again, the yearning piece. Like, I do actually love romance in a fantasy, but I want it to not be the whole point, but still be something that's strong, and when it's there I really feel it. Like, our characters have chemistry. So some of the books that I down a rabbit hole on TikTok, because I do feel like when I use TikTok as a search engine, it generally doesn't steer me wrong, and I wrote down the recommendations. First one is called The Once and Future Queen, and I believe this is going to be a multi-book series, and the second book comes out this year. The book covers are really, really beautiful in my opinion. From what I understand, if you like This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me, then this one would be a good one to read, because it's another, I guess you would call it a portal fantasy, where our female main character is not from that world. She's from our modern day world. I think she's actually initially approached by someone, and they basically come up to her and they're like, we need you back in your world. The world is thrown into chaos, and it's based off of King Arthur. So it's a retelling of that, which is kind of interesting to me. That's honestly all I know about that one, but I've heard it's really, really good. She needs to come back into that storyline and help this world, help King Arthur. I think she's like betrothed to someone or married to someone, which I feel like is always really fun, and I'm hoping it lives up to the hype. It's funny that I like This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me so much. I normally actually don't love when we come from the real world, just because I feel like sometimes with that comes certain turns of phrases or adding really trending elements that kind of take me out of the story, especially when we've been moved into this world that doesn't know about TikTok or know about different things that we know about, obviously, in the real world. But I've heard it's pretty good, so I'm excited to just kind of give it a try and see if I like it. The next one is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, and that's been one that I've actually been looking at for a while. I just haven't picked it up because I'm in the middle of her Shadowhunter world still. But I feel like after finishing Lady Midnight, I just haven't picked up Chain of Gold next. I know I need to, but I do feel like I'm at a good stopping point because I finished Lady Midnight, that trilogy within the world. So I feel like honestly it would be fine if I just move into the Chronicles of Castellane, I want to say. And I've heard so many good things about this, that it has a really interesting world and a really interesting cast of characters. There's politics, there's intrigue, and then there's also a romantic subplot. And if I know anything about Cassandra Clare, it's actually really, really good at romantic subplots. So I'm trying not to let my perfectionist side take over and just let this be fun and whimsical. I keep taking certain things off, and I'm like, Nellie, you don't need to do that. Like, it's going to turn out good no matter what's next to what, and it'll just, again, be just fun and whimsical, and it doesn't need to be anything perfect. But I do struggle with that. Another one that I've seen recommended a lot is A Darker Shade of Magic, and I actually have books 2 and 3 that I thrifted out of that series. I've been wanting to buy book 1. It's actually been kind of tricky because I have the old covers, which I actually love the old covers, the white ones, and they don't really sell those anymore in store since there's definitely been a change in what they look like. And so that's kind of been tricky. I feel like the only place I'm going to be able to get it is eBay. I've tried my local bookstore, and they've also said that it's not available for them to get. But that's another one that I've heard has a really, really interesting world, that it's kind of almost like Inception, where you have different versions of London. I think it's like Red London, White London, Black London, and some people can move between them. I think there's a heist. Question mark. I've also heard good things about the Raven Scholar. That one's a chunky one, so I get a little bit intimidated by it. Then we have the Daevabad trilogy, which starts with City of Brass. I've also heard great things about that, and that has a really good romantic subplot without it being like the entire point of the whole story. I've also heard almost nothing about the next books, like what they're actually about, but they're normally included in a list where these other ones are included, and that's called Reign and Ruin. The cover, I feel like, is really beautiful, very simple for a fantasy series, so I'm intrigued by it. I know nothing about it. That would be one that I definitely need to read the back of, like, while I'm in the store to make sure it'd be something that I'm interested in, but I've heard it mentioned in conversations that these other ones are mentioned in. Same with An Ember in the Ashes. I feel like I know a little bit more about that one. From what I understand with that one specifically, is there's a girl who ends up being somewhere under false pretenses because her brother's in prison or something like that, and then she ends up enlisting help of somebody who's there as a guard, potentially, in this kingdom. I've also recently heard really good things about Empire of the Vampire. I actually see that one sometimes at Goodwill, so that could potentially be a good one to thrift as well. And then lastly, I also have Every Spiral of Fate, which finishes off, so far I'd be caught up, I guess, if I read that one. It is in the This Woven Kingdom series. That one's kind of been tricky for me. I do really like the way that Tahara Mafi does dialogue. I think she's one of the queens of yearning. She just does it so well. But I feel like sometimes I wish the plot moved forward a lot more in her book installments in this specific series. I just feel like sometimes a book for her is like a week in the character's time. I know it was definitely like that in the second book, and I just wanted the plot to move more. There were lots of interesting things happening. Her banter is so good, but I just wanted the plot to move more, if that makes sense. And that's it for my little list. I think I'm gonna sit here and just watch a little bit of YouTube while I finish this, because I think that my multitasking is not working with my ADHD. But yeah, I'm having a good time so far, so that's fun. I'm outfit repeating today. I just love this jacket so much. Okay, my friends, it is actually a few days later, but I have been addicted to making the bookmarks. Like, they're so fun to do, and I'm just so excited to keep doing them. So this was really a win. I wanted to show you the ones that I ended up finishing up of Every Summer After and One Golden Summer, because they turned out seriously so cute. Like, look at these. I did 2 different ones, and I figured out the version I liked better, but here we have for One Golden Summer. Like, doesn't that match so well? And I think it's gonna work really perfectly for when I read Seeing Other People as well. And then this one I did with like 2 tassels. This is the first one that I made, and I actually realized I like making a loop a little bit better. It's just the way that it looks. But this is the one that I made for Every Summer After. Absolutely obsessed. Like, I think these are so fun, and seeing them together is just so fun. Then the last one that I made, you can probably see in the background for my current read, is Paladin's Faith, obviously, and look how pretty just the pinks and the pop of green I really, really love. And I think it's just so fun to sit with a book in front of you and really just try to draw inspiration from the cover. I am absolutely obsessed with it. Like I said, it's just so fun to make. And what I really realized is just trying not to make things look perfect and look even on both sides, I think really worked and added just to the whimsy of it. I think it wouldn't have been as cute if I did a pattern that I stuck to the entire time. It just turned out so cute, and I'm already planning on doing this with my friends. But that does bring us to the end of this video of doing book stuff and really just crafting together. I had so much fun, and I feel like I'm going to try to do more videos like this where I just film like a day or a few days where I do fun little things like this. So if you did like this style of video, let me know. I'm trying to get more uploads for you guys up just because I've been having so much fun filming that I feel like I just want to talk to you guys more and more and get interaction from you guys more and more. If there's anything that you want to see from me, please let me know. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm just going to be continuing to make these bookmarks that I'm so obsessed with. I'm going to go buy some more of the actual blanks because I'm going to do like a little play date for my daughter and just have some friends of hers over so that they can make them together. It's just so fun and I'm excited for it. But guys, I love you so much. Thank you for being here, my darling friends, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!